The clock ticked past midnight. Jessica, snuggled on her couch, was engrossed in a movie. Rain lashed against the windows, casting an eerie glow from the streetlights outside. Her dog, Max, lay curled up at her feet, his rhythmic breathing the only sound louder than the howling wind. Suddenly her phone buzzed, breaking the silence.
Oh!
Startled, Jessica fumbled for her phone, almost spilling her hot chocolate. An unknown number flashed on the screen, her brow furrowed. Who would be texting at this hour? Curiosity piqued. She unlocked her phone and opened the message. It was a simple message, but it sent shivers down her spine.
Hello, Jessica, it read.
She didn't recognize the number. A wave of unease washed over her.
Who is this? She asked, her heart pounding in her chest.
The reply came instantly.
Don't you recognize me?
The message sent chills down her spine. She scanned the message again, searching for any clue. She tried calling the number, but it went straight to voicemail. A robotic voice informed her that the number was out of service. The hairs on the back of her neck stood on end. Fear began to creep in, tightening its grip on her.
Who would know my name and have an out-of-service number?
She paced her living room, her mind racing. The storm outside seemed to intensify, mirroring the turmoil brewing inside her. She felt a chill run down her spine despite the warmth of the room. Another buzz, another text. This time, the message was more direct, more menacing.
I can see you, Jessica.
Fear pulsed through her veins. She glanced at her windows, half expecting to see a shadowy figure staring back. Her breaths grew shallow. She scanned the room, her eyes darting to every corner, searching for any sign of an intruder. The shadows cast by the flickering streetlights seemed to dance and writhe, taking on sinister forms in her heightened state of fear.
Who are you? What do you want?
The response was almost instantaneous.
You'll find out soon enough.
The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken threat. The game had begun, and she was the unwilling player. The wind howled outside, mimicking the fear that clawed at her throat. The storm seemed to echo her inner turmoil, each gust of wind a reminder of the unknown lurking in the shadows.
I thought I heard a soft whisper coming from the hallway, a sound distinct from the storm's fury. It was almost as if the house itself was trying to communicate, to warn me of something sinister.
Her blood ran cold. Was she imagining things, or was someone really inside her house? The uncertainty gnawed at her, making every shadow seem more menacing, every creak more ominous.
Oh no, what if someone is here? The thought sent a shiver down my spine, my mind racing with possibilities of who or what could be lurking in the darkness.
She grabbed a kitchen knife, her hand shaking so violently that the metal clattered against the floor. The sound echoed through the empty house, amplifying her fear. Her heart pounded in her ears as she crept towards the hallway, each step filled with dread. The silence was deafening, broken only by the occasional rumble of thunder. The shadows seemed to deepen, stretching out like grasping claws. They danced on the walls, creating monstrous shapes that seemed to reach out for her.
I have to see, I have to know. The uncertainty was unbearable, and I needed to confront whatever was hiding in the darkness.
Her eyes darted around, searching for any movement in the darkness. The air was thick with tension, the silence broken only by her ragged breaths. Every flicker of shadow seemed to hold a threat. She felt a presence, unseen but palpable, watching her, toying with her. It was as if the darkness itself was alive, breathing down her neck.
Who's there? Show yourself! My voice trembled, echoing through the empty halls as I braced myself for whatever was to come.
Just as she reached the hallway, her phone buzzed again, the sound echoing eerily in the silence. The screen illuminated her face, revealing another chilling message that made her heart race.
Look behind you, Jessica. The words seem to whisper directly into her soul.
Her breath caught in her throat, her blood turning to ice. Slowly, she turned around, every muscle in her body tensed with dread. Standing in the living room, bathed in the eerie glow of the television, was a figure. It seemed to materialize out of the shadows. It was tall and slender, its features obscured by the darkness, making it even more terrifying. Its eyes, two glowing embers, seemed to pierce through her, sending shivers down her spine. They were like windows into a void.
Oh my God! Who are you? Her voice trembled, barely above a whisper.
Jessica gasped, her grip on the knife loosening. She stumbled backward, fear paralyzing her. Who was this intruder? What did they want? What did they want from her? Her mind raced, searching for answers, but the only thing that filled her was pure, unadulterated terror. She felt trapped, with no escape.
Please, just leave me alone! Her plea echoed in the darkness, a desperate cry for mercy.
The figure took a step toward her, and Jessica screamed, her voice echoing through the empty room. But it wasn't a blood-curdling scream of terror. It was something else entirely. It was a scream of recognition, a scream that carried a mix of shock and disbelief. Suddenly, the figure stepped into the light, and the truth hit Jessica like a ton of bricks, leaving her breathless. It was her brother Mark, his face pale and drawn, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and relief, as if he had been through a nightmare.
Thank God you're all right. I was so worried.
He rushed towards her, engulfing her in a hug. holding her tightly as if to reassure himself that she was real.
I got your text about the break-in. I came as fast as I could.
Jessica stood there, frozen, the knife clattering to the floor, her mind racing to make sense of it all.
Break-in? What are you talking about? I didn't send any text.
Then it hit her. She hadn't received any texts about a break-in. Her heart pounded in her chest. She looked down at her phone, at the string of threatening messages, and a new wave of terror washed over her, colder and more intense than before. Someone had been texting her, pretending to be her brother, playing a sinister game with her fear, manipulating her every move. But who? And why? The questions hung in the air, unanswered, leaving her with a lingering sense of unease and dread. The night was far from over, and the answers seemed more elusive than ever.
Who could have done this? And why? What do they want from me?
The night was far from over, and the darkness seemed to hold more secrets than she could fathom.